You haven't had me on one of your records.
Yes,
That would be a...
No, I was on your record.
You were on my record.
Something happened during a recent sit-down with Blake Shelton that's got fans talking louder than a packed honky-tonk on a Saturday night. For years, people have watched him and Kelly Clarkson trade barbs on live television. The teasing, the roasting, those knowing side-eyes, and wondered whether any of it was real or just good television. Then Blake let something slip, and what came out of his mouth might just confirm what fans have suspected all along. There was no publicist smoothing it over, no carefully worded statement. It was raw, it was unfiltered, and once it was out there, there was no taking it back. Suddenly, every roast they'd ever traded on The Voice, every headline calling it a feud, looked completely different. So what exactly did Blake say? And why has it sent the internet into a full-blown frenzy? Let's get into it. The moment that broke the internet. Picture this. It's May 2025, and the studio for Kelly Clarkson's daytime talk show is buzzing with the kind of energy you can feel the second you walk through the door. Lights bright enough to sting your eyes. Cameras lined up like they're preparing for battle. An audience practically vibrating in their seats, whispering to strangers about what might happen next. Then Kelly walks out, electric blue power suit, full confidence, owning that stage like it's her living room. Because, frankly, it is. The crowd goes wild the second she appears. A beat later, Blake saunters on, and the contrast is almost comedic. Denim jacket, broken-in jeans, boots that have clearly logged 100 shows, and that half-smirk, the one that says he's already thinking 3 jokes ahead of everyone else in the room. Kelly's all sparkle and pop star energy. Blake's all slow drawl and dry wit. Somehow, it just works. The banter kicks off immediately, sharp and fast, the kind only these two can pull off. Kelly fires first, needling him about a song called Texas. Blake, you're literally from Ada, Oklahoma. Do you need a map? The crowd loses it. Blake just tilts his head, lets the laughter wash over him, and turns to the camera with a shrug, like he's letting the audience in on something. And then he drops it. Kelly and I are so inbred we probably share a toothbrush. For one full second, the studio goes dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Did he actually just say that? On national television? Then the room explodes, half laughter, half disbelief. Kelly's clutching at imaginary pearls, wheezing, doubled over, unable to even form a comeback because she's laughing too hard. It's completely unscripted and it's electric. Blake naturally doesn't let up. He leans in, smug as ever, and keeps going. I'm serious. Same managers, same songwriters, same ex-in-laws. He winks. If we swap toothbrushes right now, the tabloids would have a field day trying to figure out why. The cameras catch every second of Kelly gasping for air, arms wrapped around her stomach. By the time the segment wraps, clips are already tearing across social media. Within the hour, they've cracked 1 million views. The comments are chaos. Called it, one person writes. Another asks, only half joking, wait, is inbred a compliment in Oklahoma? Here's the thing that made it land so hard, Blake didn't dance around it. No press release, no walk back, no careful phrasing. He just said it out loud in front of everyone and let the internet do what it wanted with it. Even his publicist, presumably somewhere backstage caught between horror and amusement, couldn't resist posting a single cowboy hat emoji. No denial, no clarification needed. He meant it, and somehow, that's exactly why it worked. So, are they actually related? Before anyone starts pulling out family trees, let's clear this up. No, Blake and Kelly are not cousins. When he says inbred, he's not talking about bloodlines, he's talking about Nashville, about the tangled and possibly small world of country music that the two of them have lived inside for decades. It's an industry so tightly wound that everyone ends up connected to everyone else, whether through work, family, or just showing up at the same barbecue one too many
If we
times.
swapped toothbrushes right
Take
now,
Kelly's
the
ex-husband,
tabloids would
Brandon
implode
Blackstock.
trying to figure
He
it
also
out.
happened to be her
The
manager
cameras
for
catch every
years,
second
and
of
he's
Kelly
the son of
losing it,
Narvel Blackstock,
gasping for air,
who managed Blake
so
Shelton for a
intertwined
long stretch
that
of his
everyone's
career.
paths cross in
That
ways
one
that make
thread alone
outsiders'
means
heads
Blake
spin.
and Kelly were circling
Picture
the
a
same
human
orbit
pretzel.
long before
Everyone
cameras
connected to
ever caught
everyone
them
else
trading
through work,
jokes.
family,
And
or
it goes
just random
deeper than
Friday
that.
night barbecues.
Blake's
Take
longtime
Kelly's
producer
ex-husband
probably worked
and
on some of
former
Kelly's
manager,
earliest
Brandon
recordings.
Blackstock.
The songwriter
He's the
behind
son
one of
of
Blake's
Narvel
chart-topping
Blackstock,
ballads
who for
likely cut
years
his teeth
managed
playing
Blake
dive bars
Shelton.
with Kelly
That
before she
one
was a
connection
household
alone
name.
means the two of them
Their
were
careers
orbiting
have
the
been
same
woven
universe
together for so
long
long
before
that
any
trying to
TV cameras
untangle
caught
them
them
is
joking
basically
or roasting
pointless.
each other.
That's the
Yeah,
world
I
Blake
feel like
was
it's
really
the
joking
centerpiece
about.
of the record.
One where you
Okay.
can't
All
throw a
right.
guitar
So, we have a
pick
show you do
without
work
hitting
number shows,
someone
and
whose
it's
work
called Is It
W.
the Road? And it's coming
If
out
both
The
of
Road,
them toured
and,
with both of
it's-
them,
it's me
or
and-
ended up
and
at
I'm
the
on,
same
like 4 or
backyard
5
party,
episodes, not a lot.
their
'Cause I
circle
didn't
of
want to
mutual
get in
friends
on
practically
extra
doubles
work.
as the guest
I
list
just
for the
wanted to make-
CMA
yes.
Awards.
I wanted to make the show, but
And
not be
that
on the
tangled
show,
history
right?
explains the chemistry.
It's
When they
David
go
Sheridan
after
is
each
the,
other on camera,
other
it's
producer.
not
And Lee, remember
manufactured.
Lee Metzger?
Yeah.
It's the
Lee's
natural
part of the
rhythm of
project.
two
Yeah,
people
talked
who
about
have
it
spent
when he was
nearly
here. A
2
little bit, yeah.
decades
But
navigating
Keith
the
Urban
same
is our
chaotic
headliner for the
industry
show,
side by
and,
side.
yes, he's
Their friendship grew out of that mess, which is exactly why a joke about
And
sharing
I-
a
and I was
toothbrush
excited 'cause I
doesn't
wanted
feel
to be
strange
Keith
to
Urban's
either of
boss
them.
and be like, hey,
It's shorthand for a
Clips of the
history that's
moment
messy,
are already
hilarious,
blazing across
and
social
entirely
media.
their own.
Within an hour,
But that
the
connection
views
didn't
have
start under
surpassed a
studio
million.
lights.
The
To really
comment section
understand
is
it,
an untamed
you have to
jungle of
rewind
disbelief
years
and
before The
excitement.
Voice,
Called
before
it.
either
I
of
knew
them
it,
had
reads
platinum
one.
records or
Another
red
asks,
carpets.
Wait, is
Where it
inbred
all
a
began.
compliment in Oklahoma?
The year
The
is
genius of it all
2006.
isn't just the joke.
The setting,
It's that
a
Blake
cramped,
didn't dance
dimly
around
lit
the
bar
truth,
tucked
like
off
stage
Printer's
selfies.
Alley in
It
Nashville,
formed in
sticky
the trenches.
floors, the
Their
smell of
friendship
beer
grew
and
in the
old wood
chaos of
mixing with
fame.
cigarette smoke,
Through label
the kind of
battles,
place
chart
where a
wars,
future star might be
headline-grabbing
standing
divorces,
3 feet away
and, the
and
constant
nobody
whirl
would
of public
notice.
scrutiny, they
Blake
became
Shelton is in
lifelines
the
for each
crowd
other.
that night, still
Kelly
riding the
married
success of
Brandon
early
Blackstock,
hits like
Blake's
Austin,
manager at the
nodding
time,
to fans who
he didn't
recognize
just
him.
show up as a
On
professional
stage,
courtesy.
Kelly Clarkson is
He was
nothing
there
like the
in
polished
messy,
daytime
awkward,
host audiences
hilarious
know
moments,
today.
teasing
She's fronting a
Brandon at
rock
the rehearsal
band,
dinner
tearing
and
through,
making
since you've been
everyone
gone
laugh.
with a rawness that fills
Years
the
later,
whole room.
when that marriage
Every note
ended in a
carries
very
power
public,
and grit,
painful way,
proof she was never
Blake
just a
was
talent
still
show
in her
winner.
corner,
She was a
sending
force.
late-night memes and
After the
ridiculous
set,
videos
Blake makes his
just
way
to
to
where
the
is
bar,
thick and
easy
hazy
and
in a
charming
tiny
as
bar
ever.
tucked just
A
off
compliment
Printer's Alley
here,
in
a
Nashville.
joke there, and before
floors
long,
are
they've
sticky.
swapped numbers.
The smell of beer
Nothing
and
dramatic,
old wood
just
mixes
two
with
musicians
cigarette
crossing
smoke.
paths
And
in
the kind of
Nashville's
place where you
small,
might stumble
chaotic
into a
music
future
scene.
star and
But
not
their real
even
bond
realize
wasn't
it.
built on that first
Blake
meeting.
Shelton is in the crowd,
It was built in the
still
years
riding
that
the
followed
wave of
through
early
label
hits like
fights,
Austin,
chart battles,
tipping his
very
hat to
public
anyone who
divorces, and the
recognizes
constant
him.
grind of
On
being
stage,
under a microscope.
Kelly Clarkson isn't
When
the
Kelly
polished
married
daytime
Brandon
host
Blackstock,
millions know now,
Blake's manager
built
at the
just
time,
to release
he
the
wasn't
album
just
the way
there
she
as a
envisioned it.
professional formality.
Through it all,
He was at the
Blake
rehearsal
stayed in the
dinner,
wings,
cracking
quietly
jokes and
watching,
teasing Brandon,
never stepping
making
into
the
the
whole
public
room
argument,
laugh.
but privately
And years
checking in,
later, when that
sending
marriage
support,
fell apart in a
and later
painfully
admitting
public
he
way,
hated seeing her
Blake was
drag
still there,
for simply
sending
wanting to stay
ridiculous
true to
memes and
herself.
videos late at night,
Fast forward
just trying to make her
2018.
smile when things felt impossible.
Kelly made a casual comment
That's
on a
the part of
radio
the
interview
story
about
that never
spanking
makes
her kids,
headlines.
saying it
Everyone
was how she
sees
was
the roasting
raised
on the
and she didn't
voice,
see
the
anything
eye
wrong with
rolls,
it.
the jokes.
Almost
What they don't
instantly,
see is
the
over a
internet
decade of
erupted.
shared history.
Parenting
The
blogs
laughter,
exploded
the
with
heartbreak,
criticism.
the late-night
Child
phone calls,
development
the
advocates
quiet
weighed in,
support nobody
and
ever
social
posted
media
about.
turned into a full-on
It's a
debate
friendship built
about
in
her
the
fitness
grind,
as a
the
mother.
kind that only
Through the
comes from
chaos,
having someone who genuinely understands what you're going through. The STORMS KELLY weather, and where BLAKE stood. Blake's public image has always been cowboy charm and easy humor. Kelly's is different. She's blunt. She's unapologetic. and that honesty has landed her in the spotlight in ways most artists try to avoid. It's not just the jokes on The Voice or the sharp one-liners on her talk show. It's the real controversies that have followed her career. And in nearly everyone, Blake has been there. Not with public statements, but quietly in the background as the friend who actually shows up. Go back to 2007 and the My December controversy. Kelly had just come off Breakaway, an album that turned her into a global star almost overnight. For her follow-up, she wanted something more personal, rawer, more rock-influenced. She co-wrote the entire record herself. But her label, and reportedly Clive Davis himself, wanted another radio-friendly pop hit like Since You've Been Gone. Davis publicly criticized the album and, according to reports, told her she wasn't much of a writer and should stick to singing. Kelly got labeled difficult, a young artist who simply wanted creative control over her own work. She fought to release the album her way. Through all of it, Blake stayed out of the public fight, but privately he checked in, offered support, and later admitted it bothered him to watch her get dragged for wanting to stay true to herself. Jump to 2018. Kelly made an offhand comment in a radio interview about spanking her kids, saying it was simply how she'd been raised. The backlash was immediate. Parenting blogs, child development experts, social media, all weighing in. Blake didn't post anything, didn't get into arguments online. He just sent her a text telling her she was a great mom. That was it. And apparently that was enough. Then in 2023, the Kelly Clarkson Show made headlines after a Rolling Stone report detailed claims of a toxic work environment, with staff describing feeling overworked and burned out. Notably, everyone interviewed made clear that Kelly herself was well-liked and likely unaware of the issues, but her name still ended up in every headline. Once again, Blake said nothing public. Lie, but according to people close to the situation, pizza trucks mysteriously started showing up outside the studio every Friday for weeks, funded anonymously by someone in Nashville. Nobody had to say who. That's the balance in their friendship. Kelly confronts things head-on, she takes the hits, faces the criticism, refuses to sugarcoat anything. Blake operates differently, steady, quiet, consistent. He knows exactly when to joke with her on camera and when to just be there, off camera, making sure she's not carrying it alone. The internet loses its mind. The moment Blake's "Inbred" line hit the airwaves, the internet did not calm down. This wasn't a clip that would get a few thousand views and vanish by the next day. This was a genuine cultural moment for anyone who had spent years watching their dynamic and suspecting there was something deeper behind all the teasing. Twitter reactions ranged from hysterical to weirdly analytical. One fan described them as basically Chandler and Joey, but in Wranglers and with better vocals. Another dug up a side-by-side of Blake's 90s mullet next to Kelly's early 2000s American Idol highlights, captioning it, "Inbred icon since dial-up." Instagram polls popped up everywhere asking the same question, siblings or soulmates. And the results were lopsided. 73% said siblings. TikTok predictably went even further, with users grabbing the audio and building entire skits and duets around it. One video captioned POV, "Your work wife is also your cousin's ex-neighbor's former boss," captured the joke perfectly. Even Kelly's mother, Jean, chimed in with 3 crying laughing emojis under the clip.
And ran with it.
But it didn't stop at laughter. It turned into a full-on campaign. Right after Blake's comment, Kelly, still wiping away tears, leaned into her mic and challenged him. If they were so inbred, he needed to actually get on a track with her. Blake shot back that he would, but only if he got to yodel. That was all it took. Within minutes,
capturing
Hash
the
Yodel
absurd
with Kelly was
interconnected
trending
chaos
across
Blake
every
was joking
platform.
about.
And here's the thing,
Even
this isn't a
Kelly's
brand
mom,
new
Jean,
idea.
joined in.
Back in
Quiet,
2012, Blake
consistent,
told Billboard he
effective.
wanted to record with Kelly
Together, it
before
works.
we're too old to
He
remember
knows
the words.
exactly when to laugh
Now,
with her,
at 43
when
and
to roast her on
48,
camera,
that old
and when
comment
to
suddenly
stay in the
feels a lot
shadows,
more urgent.
letting her face the
Rumors are
world while
already
he
swirling
quietly
that
makes
Kelly's
sure
next album has
she's
an
never
open
alone.
feature slot,
The
and
fan
fans have made it
frenzy
very
and the
clear who they
duet
think should
fever.
fill it. What
The
this
second
means
Blake
going
Shelton
forward,
dropped that infamous
Blake's
inbred
country
line
cousins
about
line
Kelly
did more than
Clarkson.
go viral.
The internet
It changed how
collectively
people
went
see this
haywire.
friendship entirely.
And I mean,
It
really
wasn't a
lost it.
scandal or some
This
dramatic
wasn't just another
reveal.
viral clip
It
destined to
was,
get a few
whether
thousand views and
intentional or
disappear.
not, a defining
No,
moment
this
for
was
their
a
public
full-blown
dynamic.
cultural moment.
For
anyone
years,
who
fans had been
watching their
reading into the
dynamic for
jokes,
years
the eye
and
rolls,
quietly
the roasting on the
Oklahoma
voice,
hometown
trying to
events.
figure out what was really
This
going on
tangled
between
network
them.
explains so
Now
much
Blake's
about their
basically
on-screen
handed everyone the
chemistry.
answer.
When they
Yes,
roast each
it's
other,
real,
it isn't
it's
fake,
chaotic,
it isn't
and it's
forced.
exactly as close
It's the
as it
natural
looks.
rhythm of two people
So what's
who've
next?
spent the better part
Expect
of two
the on-camera
decades orbiting
chaos
the
to
same
ramp up
circles,
even further.
navigating
There's
the
no more
same
need for
chaotic
subtlety
industry
or
waters,
inside
and
jokes
sharing
nobody else
every
gets.
high, low,
The whole
and
premise is
awkward
out in
moment
the
along
open
the
now.
way.
Maybe Blake
Their
spins
friendship has
Kelly's
grown
chair
in that
mid-interview
chaos.
just to watch her
The
reaction.
social media
Maybe Kelly
reactions
makes
were
him sing the
instant and
Oklahoma State
insane.
song in full
Twitter
dramatic
erupted with
twang as
reactions
payback.
ranging from
Either
hysterical
way,
to
every roast from
downright
here on
analytical.
out carries the weight
One
of
fan
nearly 20
perfectly
years of
summed up
history.
the vibe by calling
And now,
them
the
basically
audience is
Chandler
finally
and
in on
Joey.
it.
But in Wranglers,
But beyond the
and
comedy,
with better
this
vocals,
moment gave fans
another
something
true
rarer.
internet sleuth
A
went
real
full
look at the
detective
human
mode,
side of two
posting a
people who have spent
split-screen image
years
of Blake's
quietly showing
iconic
up for each
90s
other,
mullet
long
next to
before
Kelly's
any of it
streaky
made
highlights from her
headlines.
American Idol days
They've weathered
in
public
2002,
criticism,
captioned,
messy divorces,
"Inbred icons
industry
since
politics, and
dial-ers."
everything in between.
Now, at
And
43
somehow,
and 48
the bond has
respectively,
only gotten
the
stronger.
public demand feels
That's what makes
urgent,
their friendship so
neon bright,
compelling to watch.
and impossible
It's
to
funny,
ignore.
it's chaotic,
Rumor
and it
has
feels
it that
real.
Kelly's next
Because
album
underneath
might have
all
an
the
open
jokes
feature
is
slot.
genuine loyalty.
And the online consensus
So does this
is that
mean a
it
full
belongs
tour
to
is on the
Blake.
way? Probably
Fans
not
aren't just
anytime
asking,
soon, at
they're
least.
campaigning.
Both Blake and
Memes,
Kelly have
TikTok
packed
videos,
schedules,
and Instagram
with Vegas
posts
residencies
all paint the
reportedly
same
locked
picture.
in through
The duet
2026,
isn't just
on top of
inevitable.
recording sessions,
It's overdue.
family life,
Reading
and other
between the
projects.
lines,
A
decoding
full
their
tour just
teasing,
isn't
eye
realistic
rolls,
right
and
now.
over-the-top roasting on the
But
voice.
this moment does open the
Now,
door to something
Blake
smaller,
essentially gave them
a
the
one-off
cheat code, the
CMT
sibling-like,
Crossroads special
chaotic,
maybe, or a
hilariously
surprise
tangled
single,
friendship
even
is
a
real.
live stream
And
duet.
it's out
After
in the
everything
open.
that's happened, any collaboration
So,
between these
what
two
does this
feels
mean
like
for
an
the
instant
future?
hit.
For
The
one,
audience is
expect
ready.
the
The
on-screen
chemistry
antics to
is
go up a
undeniable.
notch.
The
Or
story
5.
practically writes
The next
itself.
time Kelly and Blake are on
In
a
the
stage
end, Blake
or a
didn't
talk
just
show
drop a
set
funny
together,
line.
the
He
playful
confirmed
chaos
something
could get
fans had
fully
suspected for
unhinged.
years.
They no
Their
longer
friendship
need
is
to hint at
chaotic,
inside jokes
loyal,
or subtle
and completely
digs. After this,
unfiltered,
any
built on
collaboration
decades
featuring
of
Blake and
behind-the-scenes
Kelly feels
support
like a
and on-stage
guaranteed hit.
chaos.
The
And unlike
audience is
so
ready.
many industry
The chemistry
rivalries
is
that
undeniable,
dominate
and the
headlines,
story
this one
practically
isn't about
writes itself.
competition, it's about
In the end,
connection.
Blake didn't just
Fans
deliver
aren't just
a funny
waiting
quote. He
for the next
co-signed
joke.
a brand.
They're waiting to see
Chaotic,
what happens when these
loyal,
two finally take
unfiltered,
that
and
history
impossible
and put it
to
on a
ignore.
stage together.
Their friendship is
The
now a
moment
shared
Blake's
narrative for the public
inbred
to follow.
line hit,
A storyline
the internet
built over
exploded.
decades of
This
behind-the-scenes
wasn't just
chaos,
another clip destined to
on-stage
fade.
antics,
For
and
anyone
quiet
who
support.
tracked their chemistry
And while
on
the
The Voice for
competition between
years,
artists might
this felt
dominate
like
headlines in
confirmation
other
of
corners
something
the industry,
fans had suspected all
liberation.
along.
Fans
Twitter
aren't just
reactions
waiting for the
ranged from
next
hysterical
joke
to
or roast.
weirdly
They're
analytical.
waiting to see
One fan
what
called them
these two
Chandler and
icons will
Joey,
do
but in
when the
Wranglers.
curtain rises,
Another
the
posted
music
Blake's 90s
starts,
mullet next to Kelly's
decades
early
of
Idol
friendship
highlights,
finally hit
captioned
the stage
inbred
in full
icon since
force.
dial-up.
What are your
Instagram
thoughts
polls
about
asked
the dynamics
siblings or
between Blake
soulmates.
and Kelly?
73% said siblings.
Fans
TikTok
aren't just
ran
waiting for
wild
the
with
next
stitches
joke
and
or roast.
reenactments.
They're
One
waiting to
captioned
see what
POV.
these two
Your work
icons
wife
will
is
do
also your
when the
cousin's
curtain
ex-neighbor's
rises,
former
the
boss.
music starts.
Even
And
Kelly's
decades
mom
of friendship
dropped crying
finally
laughing
hit the
emojis emojis under the clip. Then it turned into a campaign. Kelly, still laughing, challenged Blake on the spot, record a song together. He agreed on one condition: he gets to yodel.
Then
Within
came
minutes, #Yodel with
2023.
Kelly was trending
The
everywhere.
Kelly Clarkson show made
This isn't
headlines
even new.
with
Back in
allegations of a
2012,
toxic work
Blake
environment.
told Billboard he wanted
Rolling
to sing
Stone
with Kelly
reported that some
before we're
staff
too
felt
old to
overworked
remember the words.
and mentally strained.
Now, at 43
Importantly,
and 48,
every person
that wish
interviewed
feels
made a
overdue.
point to say Kelly
Rumor
herself
has it her
was
next
fantastic
album has an
and
open
likely
feature
unaware
slot,
of the
and
issues.
fans have already decided
Still,
who
her
belongs
name
there.
was dragged through the headlines.
What comes next?
Once again,
Blake's
stayed
country
publicly
cousins. Line
according-
didn't just
Oh,
go
don't worry, it'll
viral.
come back. Okay,
It
yeah.
reshaped how fans see
No,
this
it's very
friendship.
cool. I think sometimes we
It wasn't a
forget to, like,
scandal.
really
It was
let that
confirmation
sink in.
of
Like, it's
something
amazing
people
to have a
had
dream
been
when you're a little
reading into
kid and
for
it actually-
years,
actually becomes
finally
reality.
out in the open.
Well, let's take
Expect the
another break.
on-camera chaos to ramp
Wait a
up.
minute, you didn't put,
No more subtext,
me winning,
no more
The
hinting.
Voice
The premise is
9
public
times
now.
on there as one of the
Maybe
photos.
Blake
No,
spins
I
her
get to
chair
choose which ones
mid-interview.
make it and which ones
Maybe
don't.
Kelly makes him sing the Oklahoma State song in
I wanted
full
to go west
twang
of
as
them. I like
payback.
that. So, okay, let's take
Either
another
way,
break.
every
Blake's new
roast
album is
now
called The
carries the weight
Recreational
of
Farming.
decades of
This
real
is-
friendship.
I have been talking
More
about
than the
it.
laughs,
This video
though,
is called
it's a
Text the
glimpse
Snake It Out of
behind the
Your Mouth,
curtain.
whatever, and he'll
A
be
reminder
performing it
that
later
under the
today.
fame and
Pizza
headlines
trucks
are
started
two
showing up
people
on
who have
Fridays
shown
for
up for
weeks,
each other through public
anonymously funded
criticism,
by someone in
messy
Nashville.
divorces,
It
and
was his
industry
way of
pressure,
saying,
and
without
only
words,
grown closer.
that he had her back.
A full
That's
tour,
the yin and yang of their
unlikely anytime
relationship.
soon. Both have
Kelly
Vegas
thrives on
residencies
confronting
locked
the
through
fire
2026,
directly,
plus
taking
other
hits,
commitments.
facing criticism,
But smaller
and refusal.
collaborations feel inevitable.
It quickly evolved
A
into action.
CMT Crossroads
Right after
special,
Blake's line,
a surprise
Kelly,
single,
still
maybe a
wiping tears
live
from her
duet
eyes,
event.
leaned into
Whatever
the
it is,
microphone
it's
and challenged
guaranteed
him.
to be a hit.
If
The
they were so
chemistry's
inbred,
already there.
he needed to get on a record with
Blake
her.
didn't just drop a
Blake,
funny line.
never one to
He
resist
confirmed
a
a
good
friendship
joke, quipped
built on
back that he
decades of
would,
chaos,
but only if he got to
loyalty,
yodel.
and quiet support.
That single
And fans are
exchange lit
already
a
waiting
fire.
for what comes next.
Within minutes, the hashtag
What do you think about
Yodel
Blake
with
and
Kelly
Kelly's
was
dynamic?
trending across
Let us
Twitter,
know in the
Instagram,
comments.
and TikTok.
And while you're here, check out
Fans,
the next
now
video
armed
on
with a
your
name for
screen.
their favorite,
Thanks
didn't
for
just
watching,
make for a
fam.
viral moment.